Hello, it is time for your February board update. We did actually have a fairly lengthy board meeting this February. First of all, under consent agenda, we had bills totaling $9,418,526.37. This is a little bit above what we would typically see, but still within reason. Also under consent agenda, we did have a number of items where we let bids for services for next school year. Those were the approval to let bids for trash service, pest control, elevator inspections, athletic trainer services, the student pictures for the independent school district for our students, and then also middle school yearbooks. Under Superintendent's report, primarily I talked about legislation that is being introduced at Jefferson City. One of the bills that I'm following very closely is when the state could possibly mandate when school would start. I believe that this should be a local decision determined by the school board in our community. There has been legislation that has been introduced that would push the start date back after Labor Day or September 1st. Also, I'm following a potential summer school bill, and I believe that will work out. Part of the dilemma that we were looking at with this bill was taking the summer school out of the foundation formula and having a separate appropriation. Anytime that you have something like that happen, it's always a concern that the state could then defund that separate appropriation, which in effect could limit or even completely eliminate summer school. It looks like that bill will not pass in its current form, so I am encouraged by that. Under new business, we did have several items that the board took action on. First of all was the approval of the FY16 budget amendments. This is something that we do twice a year. First of all, we do it in February, but also at the end of our fiscal year in June. So anytime that we have amendments or adjustments that we have to do to the budget, we do have to take those to the Board of Education. Primarily in February, you will see amendments that deal with grants and then also building budget carryovers, which we had this fiscal year. Number two, under new business, we have the preliminary budget for ordering of 2016-2017 school supplies. According to Missouri statute, we as a school district cannot expend next year's funds during this fiscal year without board approval. So what we do under this circumstance is the board is approving these funds to be expended right now so our schools can get school supplies before the next fiscal year, but we will actually expense them out of next year's budget. Number three, under new business, we have the approval to accept the quote for sound system installation at Three Trails Elementary School. I'm excited about this. We are looking at trying to do this in the future at all of our elementary schools, but we are starting out at Three Trails. And with this, it is the sound system that we have in some of our elementary schools already, that the teacher will have the remote system around their neck and then the speaker system throughout the elementary classrooms. Number four is the approval to accept a quote for chiller replacement at the Innovation Center and the replacement of 2 air handlers at Nowland Middle School. This is part of our ongoing maintenance and repair within the school district. We were extremely happy about the bids that we received on this project. It came in about $100,000 less than what we were expecting. Number five is the approval of school bus replacement. This is part of our ongoing replacement for our buses. We did accept the bid for 9 additional buses for next year. These are 71 passenger buses. So with this, we will then rotate 9 buses out of our fleet. Number 6 is the approval to accept a quote for Toshiba Chromebooks. This was above the $15,000 threshold mark, so it did have to go to the Board of Education. Sycamore Hills Elementary School chose to use some of their building budget to purchase 2 new Chromebook carts. So again, since it is above $15,000, this does go before the Board of Education. Number 7 is the approval for declaration of surplus items. This is something that we try to do every 3 months, and that is we take it to the Board of Education for them to approve a list of items that we are no longer using in the school district. We either dispose them through govdeals.com. We will also put them sometimes in the local newspaper to allow our citizens to bid on them, and sometimes they're just things that we are no longer using and have no real value, so we end up scrapping them. Number 8 is the approval of the first reading of Board of Education policy changes. We do have a number of policy updates and amendments that are going to the board this month. This is a reminder that all policy updates actually have to have 2 readings for it to go into board policy. So this is the first reading. Next month will be the second reading, and then it will become part of our policy changes. And lastly is the approval of the employment calendars for the 2016-17 school year. After we set the school calendar for students and for teachers, we then have to come back in and set the 10, 11, and 12-month calendars for the remainder of the employees in the school district. So with that, like I said, it was a lengthy board meeting, but we got a lot of good things accomplished. And the great news is we're getting closer to spring, and I continue to be very impressed with what I see in the classroom. So with that, have a great remainder of February, and thank you for all you do.